Alright, we're going to be watching Thanos playing Reaper on Oasis, and this is Diamond 5 on PC. Diamond 5 Reaper, looking for the next things I need to work on to climb the Masters. Recently hit Diamond as Reaper and basically immediately hit a brick wall, so I'm wondering if some better players can look over my gameplay to see if there are some habitual / major flaws in my gameplay that I can focus on fixing to improve. I've been trying to work on a more flank-based playstyle, as I've heard that's the most effective way to get value out of Reaper in the higher ranks, so as you'll see in this replay, I've been trying to take more off angles to pressure the enemy supports and DPS. Alright, so I took a quick pre-watch of this video where I skimmed through it pretty quickly. I think your number one problem is you are not good at the micro level optimizations required to advance to the next rank, right? And the reason why I'm describing it vaguely is because you actually have really significant flaws everywhere. There's not like one specific thing, but I would say in short, like there's lots of little things that you could be doing better, like in virtually every aspect of your gameplay. And that's the overall trend here. It's not like, hey, look, look, your shadow sets are so bad, or your wraiths are so bad, or your ult are so bad. It's like they're all just kind of not great. And if you went from, okay or good to great, that's like the big giant step that would launch you through Diamond. Okay, so let's watch and I'll show you what I mean. Alright, shots to 4, that's fine. I think it's very important. You recognize, okay, here's what the tank is. Kind of chill for a second. The second you hear the Rhine charging over, you should immediately start walking backwards. Why? Because you don't want to be this close to the Rhine, right? What if he pins you? He could, for example, if you took a wider thing, he could go left and slam all the way into this doorway. Why would you take this risk? There's no reason to do this. Just step back a little bit and then start shooting him. Okay? That's like kind of problem number one. Now, because he's able to get so close to you, he immediately swings. This is not a situation you want to be unless the Rhine is about to instantly die. You do not want the Rhine to be swinging at you because you do not regenerate health faster than he can damage you, especially with his team over here. So this is really bad, all right? Like, you should recognize you're here, you're alone, you're taking damage. This is a mistake. For the Rhine to be this close to you, already a mistake, right? Doing a ton of damage to you, and then you fade at the last moment, and then, you let the Rhine off the hook. So, number one, what should you have done from the very beginning is when he gets to this corner, right, you should be playing here and not here. It seems like such a small difference, but 1 meter further back and he can't hit you. Okay? And then if he tries chasing you, you just kite him and do a ton of damage to him. And if he turns around and goes back here, then you step forward, right? You see if he's trying to bait you to the corner, then you step forward, and then you start putting a ton of pressure. And then you've won the fight. Like, literally, just a little 1 meter difference, like backwards, instead of being forwards, means that you could single-handedly win this fight just by wasting the Rhine's time and dealing a ton of damage to him. This is a big mistake, but it seems like based on a very small thing. Okay? Let's say, hypothetically, that, you've already done it. You already made the mistake. Okay? The Rhine's on top of you. He hits you. Okay? First of all, you never should have taken this third hit, right? If you decided, okay, I no longer want to fight this, just fade right away. Now, you make a mistake here, which is you don't go back in. You should recognize here, the Rhine is basically alone except for the Kiriko. Okay? You don't see anybody else, and you got a pretty good view of the angle. You don't see anybody else here, which means your perspective here is, I can kill this Rhine. Right? He's got half health. The Kiriko cannot heal faster than ideal damage. Right? I don't know Reaper's numbers off the top of my head, but I'm going to guess it's something like 180, 200. I actually think it's probably closer to 200 damage per second, not including headshots. So you could do something like 250 plus damage per second reliably, right? It's double damage for headshots, 250-ish, that feels about right. Right? 250 damage reliably to a tank at close range, which is way higher than Kiriko can heal. She can only heal like 70 or 80, you can burn down a Rhine for sure. Even a double-pocketed tank, you can kill them if you're landing headshots, right? And that's a big part is understanding Reaper. When can you bully? Reaper is not a spam DPS. He's not like, I'll work you down over time until eventually you die. Reaper's like, I need to know instantly, do I win or lose this fight? If I win the fight, fight it. If I lose the fight, leave. Okay? Now watch. You're going to fade away, and then you're going to pick up this mini, which is a good call. As soon as, and you get Suzu'd. The second you get Suzu'd, right, and you recognize the Kiriko is here, you should be like, I'm going to go kill this Rhine. Right? You don't want to stop in hammer range, but you should do the 180 right now, right, because you're looking this way. Do the 180 while going backwards. Look, and the moment the Rhine starts going backwards, you should start going forwards. Okay? Right now, you should come out of Swift Step early, or fade early, and then immediately start shooting, and then start walking at the Rhine. If he walks towards you, you walk back. If he walks backwards, you walk forwards. That dance is so critical on Reaper for killing tanks. Okay, I'm going to emphasize this. It's absolutely critical. This is how you kill virtually every single tank in the game. Right? They come forwards, you go backwards. They go backwards, you go forwards. You always want to stay just outside of their effective range. For Rein, it's a swing, which is obvious. Okay. For Roadhog, assuming he doesn't have hook, if he has hook, it's a different problem. Right? Staying in that same spot means he can't really damage you, but you can still do basically full damage. Right? Probably like a little further back. Okay. Orisa, similar deal. Right? I would say probably like here-ish. Yeah, about the same distance. About the same distance on Orisa. Okay. Ramatra doesn't matter. At any range, you can kill him. Right? Ramatra against Reaper is just not a good matchup for Ramatra at all. You just can absolutely wreck him. The primary thing is he's going to block and just waste your time. But beyond that, like, he's not a threat to kill you in any way. He has no burst. Wrecking Ball, you can kill him at close range, not a problem. Doomfist, again, unless he can slam into a wall, you can just absolutely murder him. And who am I missing? Diva, you probably actually want to be like medium range again, right? It's about the same distance. I think being up close is actually bad for you because you can get missile down and shot in the head very quickly. And then Zarya, you actually want to get closer. Well, you want to bait shields and then you could walk in under. Then the range doesn't matter. You want to get as close as possible after bubbles are down. Did I miss any? Sigma you can play close, right? Close-ish. I would say about the same distance, right? The distance where he's not going to reliably direct you with every shot, but you're hitting all your shots. So, again, understanding this distance, this forward-back dance, very, very important on Reaper, right? That is how you absolutely just destroy tanks, and if you kill the tanks, you win the game. Right? Again, so you recognize, hey, go forwards right now. This is fine, right? Reload, right? Don't keep eating this fire strike. Like, there's no reason for you to be getting hit by this fire strike. This is just sloppy, right? Like, you have a ton of, you hear the wind up, you can see it coming, just go slightly, just like one step to your right, and you dodge this. It's very sloppy, and you're feeding the Rein full charge. All right. Also, it means you're missing 100 health right now. Alright, so you go in. I think you start shooting here too early. Right? Also, you're off target. I would walk closer. At this distance, you're barely going to do any damage. I would walk a little closer before you start shooting. Otherwise, you're going to tip off. I mean, she should hear you, but like sometimes people aren't so aware. So, you fade here, which is good. Right? I think you cover, which is still good, right? You could possibly die here. Again, looking at this situation, right? Your job is to hold the left. Okay, your Bastion's got right side taken care of. Like, no way are they walking through here unless your Bastion dies. So all you gotta do is hold the left to prevent them from walking in on your Bastion. Right? You're not looking for kills here. There's like no way you can get a kill here. Right? With Genji and Junkrat, there's just no way you get a kill until this happens. So what I mean is, at this position right here, you need to read. Sorry. This position, there's no way to kill these two heroes. Like, it doesn't matter if you're the best player in the world. It doesn't matter if you're an aimbot. There's no way you can kill these two heroes in this position because they can easily knock you back. They can use deflect. They can dash, right? Burst you down. There's a million options, and you have no fade. All you have to do is poke them down right now and not take too much damage and look for an opportunity. Getting further in is very dangerous because that between the two of them, they definitely could have killed you right here. All right, you see that Junk is trying to bounce shots off the wall instead of just targeting you. Now it's good because now your Winston has gone in, made space. Right. Your Winston's feeds. Okay. Next thing to recognize. So we've capped point. My Winston is dead. But I have two supports. You should look at the situation and recognize I am the tank right now. You are going to get double pocketed in this situation, plus your regen, which makes you extremely dangerous. You're nearly impossible to kill here unless somebody can one-shot you. So your perspective is not to be aggressive necessarily, but you're like, I do not want to give space. And this is where it's really helpful if you also play tank to recognize, if at all possible, I don't want to let them through a choke, right? This choke. And definitely I don't want to let them onto point, right? With double pocketing, this is very possible right now. Their tank is down, your tank is down. You can easily prevent them from doing anything. Right? Again, like for Genji, assume he will always deflect, right? Like after every shot, evaluate, did he deflect or not? And then continue the next shot. You see how you fire an extra shot there? That's sloppy. Right? At the highest levels, where you're talking like Masters, Reapers, they do not shoot. This first shot, totally fine. Second shot, they never fire this shot. Never, ever, right? This is a total wasted shot, right? And you can get the teammate killed that way, too. This is crazy to me. Right? So, we start shooting, right? These three are clearly outside of your effective range right now, right? As a Reaper with close range shotguns, they are too far away. For you to just walk forward in a straight line at them, you should be dead right now. All three of them should have killed you. This is incredibly sloppy to do this. You didn't need to do that, right? All you had to do was just jiggle, right? Right here, jiggle, 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 right? Shoot, keep him back, and then when the Rhine gets here, back up at the point. You should be dead. Okay. Now, for some reason, you're LOSing your healers, right? Your Anna's healing you, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go in the room. Again, you should try to stall out the point as long as you can to give time and space for your tank. You don't want your tank to have to come in with them already all over the point. You know what I mean? Like, you want to hold them back as long as you can. So, for example, like after you finish this, you could have stopped over here, right? And then use this, and then, again, your Anna can heal you the whole way, right? Your Kiriko can come to you, right? You can just walk in here if you're under a lot of pressure. I don't think you want to go this far back. I know you don't have Swift Step or Shadow Form, right? Wraith, but I think you'd be more aggressive. Okay, this, another big example of small things make big differences. Ryan's sleeping. It is the right call not to wake him here, right? You're waiting for your tank to get into position. However, you wait right here, which allows the point to keep capping, instead of one step to the left, which would have prevented the point from capping. Okay? And that allows them to get a ton of progress on this. Ton-ish, right? That was unnecessary. Just stand on the point. Now, you go in for the Rhine. This is a big mistake. The Rhine is not going to die here. He has 2 supports. The Rhine will not die here. Very, very clear. Unless you see that he gets purpled and it's not cleansed, or the Winston bubbles him off, you don't really want to be fighting the Rhine here. All right? I would prioritize fighting the Reaper or the supports here and worry about the Rhine last. Okay? Again, you don't even do that much damage to him. Right? Reaper comes after you, and because you're not shooting at the Reaper, you're behind in the duel. Right? Understanding the DPS duels, and in particular mirror matchups, is very, very important. You should always understand your mirror matchup because they use the exact same abilities. You're 50 health behind already, 53 health behind already, which means this Reaper is going to walk into you and bully you. Right? That's what he wants to do, except for the ones zapping him back. But that puts you down. Okay? You don't want that to happen, which is why you were poking the Reaper from the beginning. You would be even, if not up. All right, Genji's on you. All right, one shot. You don't want to do this fight. Again, Genji's use deflect. Okay. Suzu, you fire one shot. Okay, great. You held. As soon as you see 2, you leave. Why would you take this fight? There's 2 here. The Genji at any moment in time, right, assuming he still has dash, right? It's very weird that he does not have dash right now. But typically in this situation, he would have dash. At any moment in time, he can dash through you, dealing 50, then right-click you for, was it 72 now? Right, so this round, say 70. So that's 120 damage, and then melee for 150 damage instantly. And you don't have Wraith. And that's not even including the fact that the other Reaper is here, right? You just picked up the mini, right? Okay, you have Wraith right now, okay? This Reaper dives on you, right-click melee while the Reaper shoots you, and you could die almost faster than you could react. You should immediately get out of this hallway. Instead, you decide to take the 2-on-1, right? Again, you fall behind in the Reaper fight, and then you just die, despite having Wraith up, which is not acceptable. Like, think about how many shots it takes you to die here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're telling me in 6 shots you don't have time to Wraith? Like, you're already down from the beginning because you didn't have ammo fully loaded. Their Reaper got to shoot you first, right? You're already down like 50 health. You should recognize, hey, you're not going to win this fight. And then you just die. Also, let's take a note of your dodging. And this is, again, what I'm piling on here is I'm trying to tell you all the things that you're doing are just slightly suboptimal. I wouldn't say slightly. I mean, compared to Masters, you need to upgrade every element of your game. So watch your movement here on the Reaper. Okay, so you're running backwards in a straight line to the right. Then you go slightly to the left, and now you're just running backwards in a straight line to the left. These are the easiest shots this Reaper is ever going to get. Okay, in real time, watch. You're not dodging. This is not dodging. Okay? Even he's not doing a great job dodging, but he's still doing a better job of dodging than you are. Right? The most effective way to dodge is to spam A and D, right? Left and right. And be very erratic about it. Don't just do the same rhythm, left, right, left, right. Do like left, right, 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 left, left, right, 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 like that, right? Again, tapping the keys at different frequencies is something that you need to get used to for playing every hero in the game. Tank, DPS, support, this is how you dodge effectively in 1v1s. And then you can add on crouch spam if you really want to do that. But at a minimum, don't walk backwards in a straight line. Okay? Otherwise, you're just going to get diffed by DPS like every single time. It's very, very easy to hit people like that. You're barely dodging at all. Alright? I would define dodging as someone is trying to put their crosshair on you, but they can't keep their crosshair on you. Okay, and the best, easiest way to do that is to displace the position of where you are as quickly as possible from the spot where they are aiming in an unpredictable way. Okay, like this is how you dodge. Okay, not, well, I'll do it slow, right? Not this. This is how you dodge, right? This is not dodging, okay? This is dodging, right? Where it's really hard for you to predict. If you need to go backwards, incorporate the back key while also, right, doing the same thing. Okay, again, the only buttons I'm hearing here are S, back, right? A, left, D, right. Back, left, right, right? Like this. This is how, I mean, moving backwards always sucks because it's going to reduce, like, how dodgy you are. But if you absolutely have to, that's your option. Or just wraith and get out. Eat another fire strike. Yeah, I mean, the amount of long-range fire strikes you've eaten is awful. Okay. You pressure the Rhine here, which is fine. Okay, Reaper immediately hits duck, right? You're already behind the Reaper 1-1. All right, great. Now you can go. So you're going to botch this fight terribly just due to poor aim. Maybe it wasn't this one. I guess you did an okay job there. I mean, I don't think it was great. I think you definitely could have hit more shots, but it's not that bad. And you're even. Okay, so now you're going in. You got 70 health. You see your Nano Reaper is on their backline. You have 70 health, no Wraith form, obviously, because you're coming out of Wraith form, and you've decided to ulti in front of 3 people. How well does this go for you? Not well. Why would you ulti when you're this low? I get that you're like, oh, the Reaper is like really, really low, right? Maybe I can finish. First of all, the Reaper alone could have killed you, right? When you were walking up here, if I just saw this as the Reaper, where'd the enemy Reaper go? Oh, I'm following the red. This Reaper. Okay. When I see this, he could have just walked forward and just shot you once in the head. Because you're not going to kill him faster than he can kill you. Right? I think Death Blossom does like 150 damage a second. It's actually lower than your regular damage. So, for perspective. So you should never use Death Blossom when you're trying to like win like a 1v1 unless you're having trouble hitting them. Okay? In this situation, he could be like, oh, you're chasing me? I just turn around, wait for you to come out of it, instantly kill you. Right? One shot to the head or even to the body will kill you here. Right? You're in one body shot range. This is a crazy Death Blossom and you waste it completely. Also, again, your Winston is nanoed, killing the backline. You could have just gotten healed or just teleported over here and then tried to kill the Ana with him. Okay? Your tank was already going to make space. You're just dead before your tank can do anything. Okay, you go in here, you kill Ryan, great. Alright, so, pro tip. You're in a 1v2 situation. I mean, Kiriko's here, but let's imagine hypothetically. This is what happens, okay? So, you're on the Reaper right now. The Kiriko is going to come in just a second. How do you win this fight? Right, well, obviously aiming, but like independent of aiming, do you go forwards, backwards, or left, right? Okay, like dodge, like regular dodging. The answer here is to go forwards. When the enemy team has a healer, and you need to kill the opposing hero, okay? Like in this situation where it's a 1-on-2, right? Your Kiriko having not gotten here quite yet. But in a 1-on-2, the key thing is to move forwards. Because as you move forwards, everyone's damage is going to go up. Your damage, the Reaper's damage, the Kiriko, if the Kiriko's attacking, okay? But that's good for you because you have over twice as much health as the Reaper, right? If you play farther back, okay, at this range, let's say hypothetically your damage is 200 damage a second. Okay, it's a lot of body shots fall with a bunch of headshots. At this range, your damage is probably, I don't know, 150. Okay, at this range, it's only about 100. Okay, if that, and at this range, it's probably down to like 50. So you see what I mean? If they're really low and they have a healer, walk forwards, and then both you and the Reaper will be doing 200 damage a second to each other. But the thing is that you need to override the enemy healing because the Kiriko has a static, like roughly 70 health a second of healing that the Reaper's going to get. You walk forward, you kill this Reaper in 2 shots. If you play back, the Reaper gets healed, out heals your damage, okay? And then eventually you lose this fight, right? You had a strong advantage here. All you do is walk forwards and 2-shot the Reaper. Okay, Suzu, and then you're forced to back. Alright, Winston kills Reaper, great. Go to Genji. So, right, other minor detail. Watch this Genji, right? You shoot, he starts blading, okay? You should be walking towards him to do more damage during blade, but once he starts looking clearly like he's gonna dash to the left, right? At this point, I understand that he is committed. Like, he's not just using the animation, he's clearly looking at a target to my left. I start walking to the left. Because I want to be right next to him, right? Not in blade range, hopefully, but like right next to him to blow him up instantly when he comes out of this. Out of dash, okay? You just don't, you see how you're walking away from Genji Blade instead of towards Genji Blade. You should have been going towards him to just kill him yourself. Right? I understand Blade is like theoretically dangerous, but for the record, I think your damage per second is about comparable to what Genji Blade is. And I think you're continually underestimating how much damage you do as Reaper. He does a crazy amount of close range damage. You can kill Genji in 2 hits at close range, and he was already like half health when he started that dash. Alright, this is just sloppy. So, you're contesting the point, you just walk in a straight line, and you get killed. Right? Let's watch again. From Kiriko's perspective. Alright, walk in a straight line. Walk in a straight line. Walk in a straight line. Yeah, see? 3 kunais where you do not dodge. All you do is walk in a straight line like one of the robots in the training range. That's why you die. Right? Continually like this. Also, you're taking a fight that doesn't matter. You're not doing anything walking from here across the point, shooting at people really far away. That's not your job, right? Take the flank route. Okay? Even this way if you have to. Or teleport right here. And then fight them at close range. But this distance, no one's afraid of you. Okay? Mercy Pistol has better damage per second than you at this range. For perspective. Mercy Pistol damage per second is actually like 100. It's like pretty good. It's better than people might imagine. Alright, you come out again. Alright. Great call, go in, you kill a Reaper. Kills Anna. Okay. So you're gonna miss 2 shots, and I think you probably would have missed the 3rd there. This also cannot happen in Masters. In Masters 5, nobody misses this shot. 2, this 3rd shot should be a hit. 4th shot, also a miss. And immediately you should have meleeed here to finish, and you don't, right? So again, like your execution of like, hey, the first 2 shots, good, right? Your first shot was like a perfect headshot. 2nd shot, good, right? Good body shot. 3rd shot has to be a kill. Can't miss those. Because at higher levels of play, someone will save the Anna, or the Anna will save herself, and then you'll realize the whole fight is turned because you didn't execute that kill. Oh, man. Alright, so let's start with this fight, okay? You're on the Kiriko. So one of the few times, I normally say don't jump. Kiriko is probably one of the few times I would say jumping is actually a reasonable option to prevent yourself from getting headshots. Especially right now where there's literally no way you can die unless she headshots you. Right? And then you step back. Again, you're walking in straight lines. So the second she teleports, you'd be like, you saw the direction that she teleported. She has to be over there. You look, I would probably just drop and get the mega and teleport back up right now. But instead, for the millionth time, you just don't pay attention to the fire strikes at all. And then you walk into this and then you die. Like, there's no reason to die to a fire strike that comes that far away from you. So this is kind of unlucky, but only kind of. So obviously getting solo shattered here is like kind of unfortunate. But the big issue is, as I pointed out, you don't want to get that close to the Rhine, right? You don't want to be in swing range. Like this is as far as you want to be, or as close as you want to be, and then step on the point like here, right? This would have prevented you at a minimum from getting insta-killed by Shatter. You might have still gotten Shattered if you couldn't Wraith fast enough, but like at least you wouldn't eat the initial slam, which kills you. Like that. Also, you should recognize, hey, does he have Shatter? And if you Shatter, you can Shadow Step. Shadow Step is, or Wraith rather. Wraith is instant. Okay? As soon as you hear that, you immediately Wraith. If you're saying, hey, how do I get to Masters? Stuff like this, right? When things like Grab gets fired at you, or Shatter, or Overclock, etc., immediately, right? Pop Wraith. Right? So coming in, do a lot of dying there. Multiple deaths where you don't really get any value. All right, so let's watch the second point. If you walk up, important thing about Reaper, you have to scout. Okay, you're not good at like, okay, let me just play in the open and see what happens, right? You're not a soldier, you're not a Cassidy, you're not an Ashe, you're not a Sojourn. You really need to know where they're going so you can set up accordingly. Okay, if they're going center, That's very different than if they're going top versus going out here, or they could be going, and nobody really does this, but going like wide left. All those things require you to be in different positions. You need to be there before they get there, is a big part of Reaper, right? He's very much an ambush hero. You cannot just run at people and expect it to work. Okay, you recognize that they're going left. You should look for an opportunity here. What are opportunities? Well, you can go up and you can pressure the Rhine, right? Preferably seeing that nobody right, you could pressure right from here, which will keep them off point. That's option number one. Option number two, you can teleport over here and then start challenging the backline. I think those are your two best options right now. I think that Fire Strike is okay. You didn't really have any space to dodge, right? I would top healing to make sure you get healed here. Very important you get healed up. Okay, Rhine's on point right now. Good. Go for the Reaper. Alright, so you have advantage here. You force Wraith first. Okay, let's watch this. See, that first shot was off. That shot's okay. Yes. Okay, you should recognize right now that the Rhine is coming towards you. So you should not be coming back towards the Rhine. You should be trying to backpedal as fast as you possibly can. But instead, watch your movement. Okay. Pow. Right? The second he wraiths, start stepping back. There's no reason to be fighting the Rhine here. You know this Reaper is going to stop behind you if you're fighting the Rhine. You must back up here to keep both of them in front of you, right? Instead of being here, you should immediately start backing up and looking at where the Reaper comes out. Okay, you see how you hesitate and you go in, and now you go towards the wall, and this allows the Rhine to catch up to you and get in hammer range. And now both of them are on top of you, and then you get hit, and you're forced to Wraith. For the record, you actually could have held there and tried to two-shot the Reaper. So, another, like, mistake, okay? Because I think you easily could have killed the Reaper there, for sure, right? And then gotten out before the Rhine did anything serious to you. Here comes charge. Okay, you don't have Wraith. That's unfortunate. Nothing to do about that. You're down one. Maybe you could turn it, but probably not. So, again, recognize, stay out of Rhine's swing range. Like, you can hear the Rhine, right? Through your headset, you must know the Rhine is very close to you. Don't do this. Right? He forces out your Wraith, and then you walk out here, and then you die. Which is, I think, the whole sequence is pretty sloppy. Alright, you should recognize that your tank is not here yet, and you need your tank to make at least a little bit of space here before you do anything. Okay, you saw the Reaper through the window rotating to the right. So you can decide either A, I can take advantage of this while I have time, or you can decide to take the one-on-one against the Reaper. Right? So for example, when you saw the Reaper go right, you could have just crouched, walked along here, and then when you heard him very close to the corner, then swung wide and started taking that fight. Okay? That's a really good way if you're going to try to diff a Reaper, then you could have done it. Because he wouldn't have known that you're coming over here because you saw him turn first. So he's not going to know. So if you crouch, immediately swing out, you're going to get the first shot, which allows you to win the fight. At close range, whoever shoots first as Reaper usually wins. Okay, Reaper, as expected, comes behind you, and because you just don't, like, kind of deal with the situation fast enough, right? At this point, you should already recognize, okay, like, you try to get the kill, it's not going to work, and then you're like, okay, the Reaper's coming, you should Wraith, right, to give yourself the reload. So, for example, you could just Wraith right here. Canceling Wraith early, I think, is a really good technique to throw people off. He's pretty low. You could have just Wraith, and then as soon as he shoots once, immediately come out of Wraith and shoot him, and then you'll win this fight. But notice that he's also going to push you backwards into the choke. This is a huge mistake. You are just backpedaling into the choke. Okay? And then the Rhine just walks forward and kills you. Again, very sloppy. Alright, Ramasha ultis popped. Again, this is just, okay, they popped Rush. So honestly, I don't think your team should try to go too crazy here. I think you want to break shield so that Ramasha ulti can continue, but you definitely don't want to try to come in, right? Again, getting to Rhine swing range where you could have just, as soon as you started stepping forward, you step back. Right? Really basic stuff. Okay, you take so many swings, this is how the Rhine gets shattered all the time. You go forwards, I think this is the right call to go forwards here and avoid the Rhine. Right? Kill the backline, great. So, you hear the Rhine charge coming. I mean, you could sort of dodged it because you really should have heard it. Wait, the exact moment. It's hard for me to hear because I have the phone. So right there, you would have heard the Ryan charging and recognize, hey, like maybe shoot, but then duck into the room and then go to the other side and finish killing the supports. Because you got to know he's coming towards you. Also, you had a fraction of a second to pop Wraith. If you hold it down, it's possible you would have gotten that off. Alright, you cap point now. It's really important that you don't do anything sloppy. You basically have 2 fights of wiggle room, right? And you have to win 5. You sneak with Ana, this is a good flank. Ana's will sleep you. I will tell you at Masters, this will happen to you 90% plus of the time. Is that the Ana's will not miss Sleep Dart this close at Masters. Right? She really should have said earlier. Like that is like a 90% shot against Ana and Masters. Alright? Don't assume anyone will miss Sleep Dart against you ever as Reaper. That is a big mistake. So what should you do? You shot. The second she turns and you see her pull the Sleep Dart pistol out of her pocket, immediately Wraith, and then immediately cancel and keep shooting. That's how you win this fight. You have to get used to that technique because you're going to run into a lot because there's a lot of Anas. You must get used to, alright, shoot, and then the second you see her pull it, pop Wraith. And yeah, it'll take practice, right? It's not easy. Like obviously in real time, it's like not something that's like trivial to do. But you can also, as she starts like the more space you give, the more time you'll have to react. So if you're afraid of getting slept, you can play it a little slower, keep your distance, right? Now that she's already low, she'll use the Sleep Dart preemptively, and then you can Wraith and finish. Yeah. Alright, so another bad death for you. Your team obviously loses a point because you die. Right, so what is happening here? So you're way ahead of your team, right? Your team, because you died first, so everything's staggered. It's very important you don't die here. Okay? I think just hiding would have been just totally fine. But you decided to do this. I don't know why you're trying to go in right now when you only have like 75 health as you're going in. I think you need to wait here to get fully healed. Right? You have 8%. You don't need to like go right away. Nobody else is going to get the point. Okay, so in summary, 1, stay out of Ryan's swing range. the dance of Reaper versus tank is really important. Figure out how to learn how to kite tanks. That's number 1. Number 2, everything else, right? Everything from how to take fights, how to kill people on the flanks, the positions of where to play, right? How to shoot people, how to use Wraith form to dodge, CC, how to use ulti better. All the things need to improve, right? And it's hard for me to write that list, so I'm pretty much just going to summarize and be like everything else in the text, but I hope the video itself will be helpful.